This podcast is a part of the Royal We Network.
Spit on me.
All right, man. You know, we make the rules anyway, right?
Yep.
So what the fuck? Let's just do. Why are we playing around? Let's just do what we want to do.
Okay.
What do you want to do? Search your soul. Go through your feelings. What do you want to do right now?
I want to share a ridiculous song that's been stuck in my head for days, and
There's something in there. Okay.
Because I've been, like we talk about, my YouTube algorithm is all over the place. Like, it doesn't know what I want. So
I'm sure it is wild.
So the other day it sends me this thing, and it called my, because I think because like it was like a Britain's Got Talent thing or something. It's like, hey, you might, and I'm like, why would I what? And I'm like, oh, it's because I went on a big kick where I was looking up like those Got Talent shows, but like for other countries, like Croatia's Got Talent, because they are bonkers. If you've never watched any, look up like, like Croatia's Got Talent or something like that, or the Falkland Islands have talent, and it's the weirdest stuff. Like the songs they choose and like what they think is cool. It's like,
and the judges are strange too.
Yeah, because they try to mimic. They have like a Simon Cowell type guy, and then like a Heidi Klum, like for whatever. They have like, you can tell who they're trying to mimic the real ones, and it's super fun.
The Falkland Islands equivalent of Heidi Klum.
Yeah, exactly. And like usually anything from like for some reason Croatia is stuck in my head, but any of those
Eastern Europe,
any of the Eastern European countries are real. You've got some really funny, like the Simon Cowell versions. It's just like some guy who looks like he wants to be Dracula. Like, it's really funny, and he's just like, yeah. But anyway, they're really funny. Yeah, but like old Dracula.
There's a song, some crazy song you found?
Yeah, well it just goes, hey, you might want to listen to this, and I was like, what? So I see it, and it's called Wiggle Wine. Wiggle Wine. And I was like, all right, I'll give that a watch. And it's a 60-year-old man named Don Ches who sings this like Caribbean song that just goes, you gotta wiggle and wind your body, and it's just like this like dum dummy, just like this like Caribbean like, and I was like, what is it? And for some reason that bore itself into my brain to the level that I'm going insane. It's like, yeah, see, you would like that, and I'm like, why won't this stupid song get out of my head? And just over and over in my head, just, you gotta wiggle and wind your body. And then I was like taking a shower, and it's like, you gotta wiggle and wind your body. You gotta wiggle and you feel sexy. I'm like, this has to go. This has gotta go. So like this morning, like I was just like listening to, I was like, what are other songs that could knock it out? So I'm listening to just like normal music that I would normally listen to, and it wasn't doing the job. I was like, I gotta listen to like something.
What's a classic earworm? What's one that'll just get in your head?
One that's now, has now replaced it though, is the Gambler by Kenny Rogers. So now so now my brain's just going,
oh, Gambler, that'll get in there.
For some reason, and I'm just like singing the Gambler, which I'm like, that's a relief. But the Gambler's going to get old. But the Gambler's got to keep at bay Wiggle Wine, because it's like Wiggle Wine was driving me crazy. I'll have to post.
Wiggle Wine will drive a man crazy.
It will. Wiggle and wind your mind to insanity.
I had that Backstreet Boys song. I get back that Tell Me Why. That gets stuck in my head all the time. That'll get stuck in there, man. You are my fire, the one.
And what's funny is I never even listened to the Backstreet Boys, but I know that song.
That's how fucking. Me either. I don't think I could tell you another Bye. Is that Backstreet Boys or NSYNC? Welcome to another episode of the Royal We. I'm Sam.
I'm Nate.
What we normally do is we take headlines and we read those headlines, but we don't read the articles because, facts, they just get in the way. Mm-hmm. If you guys want to send us headlines, I'm not even going to say it anymore. I'm going to go just like you.
Yeah, just make noises.
You guys can do that at Royal WeCast on Twitter, royalwecast@gmail.com, or Facebook, or you got all kinds of things you can send. But let's start the episode. Did anyone send us anything?
Actually, yeah. I think did we ever go through some of this stuff? I know somebody sent me something, and it was just on like a zipped file, and I forwarded it on to you because I didn't want to spoil it for me. And I was like, somebody sent this to us.
So that'll be my email?
Yeah, it would be in your email.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
And it seems like there's some more that somebody sent me, and I tried not to, and I just put them somewhere.
But here's the problem. Who sent these to us?
I don't know.
Someone? Oh, we have mystery headlines to start this episode.
Yeah, there we go.
These are both animal themed.
Okay, animal drawer. It is.
Okay, so we got some mystery headlines from some sort of mystery. We're the worst at this, honestly. How many years have we been doing this? People give us headlines, we never read them, and then when we do, we don't even know who gave them to us.
Yeah, we feel bad because it's like someone took the time to actually send us something, and then we're like, meh, like, and I'm like, sorry, I'm sorry, whoever's, like Paulson's doing that's cool, that's funny, that's super funny.
Oh yeah, we have this Instagram now that someone Paulson's doing. It's OOC Royal. What's the Instagram?
OOC Royal WeCast, I think. It's out of context.
Yeah, OOC_Royal WeCast. Yeah, that's not us.
Yeah, that's not us. That's Bill Paulson.
That's not us. Okay, well, here's some of these mystery. These are both in the animal drawer. Okay. There's two headlines here. The goose who wore Nikes and the mystery of who murdered him.
I'm so glad I never read that.
What?
What? Which part's that's double? Is it? Did they not know why it wore Nikes? Like, what's the mystery? Who murdered him?
It's got to be the mystery of whom. Yeah, it's got to be because I think that probably a farmer or someone just put the Nikes on this goose. Yeah,
that goose just didn't walk up with Nikes on. And they make that sounds like that's something that happened 100 years ago. But Nikes, I mean, this has only got to be several. When did Nikes come out? The 80s, 70s? When?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
Yeah, I think probably the goose probably had something wrong with his feet, right?
Well, first of all, it doesn't have feet. Not that fits in a Nike shoe.
I was thinking that. I mean, because it's got to be baby shoes, a baby Nike. Could maybe put on a goose.
But a goose has big old webbed feet to support help swim and like distribute its weight on land. That's why they waddle around. So if you force that into like Nikes, I bet the thing had a hard time walking.
And as an affront to the Lord.
And then somebody murdered it. Why would you kill it?
Because, like I said, it's an affront to the Lord Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and the fact that most geese I've ever run into are fucking...
No animal was to wear shoes. I saw this video. This kid was chasing. You're gonna regret calling it to that. There was I saw this video. This little kid chasing this swan around, and the swan had or goose or was a swan or maybe I think it was a goose. One of those Canadian geese. Mm-hmm. It was chasing the goose and its babies, like a little kid, like a 5 or 6 year old kid. And I was like, oh my god,
this is going to go bad.
Eventually, the adult just kind of flapped at him, but I was like, "Oh, the kid lucked out being the one calm goose in the world."
Yeah, every goose I've ever encountered has been a fucking asshole.
Yeah, and just freak out on you.
Yeah, if we had one when I lived in Florida, it literally built its nest in this giant jungle bush that was right beside our door, like right beside our door. So every time we come out, this big ass fucking goose. I mean, dude, it was almost as tall as me. Like when it stuck its neck up, its neck came up like nearly to my chin. It's a giant animal.
Barefoot, I'm sure. The barefoot goose.
Yeah, he was barefoot. He didn't have 2.5 inches with his Nikes on. Yeah. But he would come out of that, and I nicknamed it Blonker because
what are those lesbian boots?
What?
What are those lesbian boots? Lesbians always wear those boots.
Dikes.
They're really comfortable. Doc Martens.
Okay, I don't think I should say that.
God, it's so funny though. Like when you shouldn't say it is when it's funny.
Yeah, I'll just leave that in there. Whatever.
Well,
wait. Doc Martens? I used to wear Doc Martens.
God, all I keep seeing is that whenever I open up our Instagram or our Messenger chat, it's just that David Goggins hand. So okay,
me too. Me too. I regret sending it. I'm just looking at it right now. It's gross. What were we talking about?
I don't lesbian shoes, Doc Martens.
Doc Martens. I used to have a killer pair of Doc Martens in high. Those things last forever.
That seems like a shoe a boot would wear. A goose would boot.
Doc Martens. The shoe a boot would wear.
The shoe a boot a goose would do. So someone wasn't into it. Someone was just like, no, Why would you murder? Who murders? If you kill an animal, is it murder?
I don't.
Like if someone kills your dog, did they murder it? Because I think murder is a legal term, isn't it?
I think unless you're that monkey that they made a person, didn't they make a monkey a person?
Yeah, or a company.
Huh?
Companies are people too now.
Really?
Yeah, corporations are people. You didn't know this?
No.
Yeah, so they don't have a limit to how much money they can give politicians because they're not entities. They're people now.
What? Hold on. Wait, what?
They did that forever ago. That was like I don't know, upwards of maybe 10 years ago.
Well, you said they made companies into people, and then you said
corporations are people now legally.
But politicians are already people.
I think there's I don't think a person. How does it work? Politicians are people, but maybe legally now they're not. Maybe. To be honest, I don't know. I mean, we're out of our depth. Let's talk about geese wearing shoes.
Yeah, that's more our speed.
Do you think they shot him for the Nikes?
No. Ooh. Like they were jacking his Nikes.
Because that happens, right?
I don't know. I know I say this every week. I'm like, this is the first one, but I already want to know more about this. What could have happened that because you said murder. They murdered it. So that didn't. I mean, I've wanted to murder every goose I've run into too.
They're delicious.
Like Blanker. Yeah, I kept saying that. I was like, we could kill that thing and just eat it. Like, no one would ever know. We would have a giant feast, and no one would ever know. And then I was just thinking about going through the whole thing and being like, oh,
yeah,
man.
Think of the logistics of you having to take the feathers off a goose.
Yeah, because I've helped out with doing that with like a turkey before, like a wild
mess.
It's a whole thing, and like also I wasn't doing much. I was pretty much like watching it.
They defeathered it.
Yeah, it was like my grandpa. Like he shot a turkey, like a wild turkey, and brought it home.
Dip it in boiling water, right? Is that how they get the feathers off?
No, he just plucked them.
He plucked them. Huh?
Yeah, the sheer manpower. But I remember I was going through that whole process in my head, and I was like, I can't do that like outside here at my. Can you imagine if you were in one of those apartment complexes in Florida and you look out your window and there's a guy in the fucking courtyard plucking a goose?
Yeah, not just a guy, but you.
Yeah, just
crazed look in your eye, like,
no, fuck him, fuck this Blanker. I don't know, officer. I remember honestly having that thought a bunch of times. I mean, like, we could eat like kings for a day. That goose, that would have fed us for a week. It was huge.
Yeah, birds are kind of weird. I guess, yeah, no, there's a lot of meat. They are big.
That one was big. Anyway, okay.
It was big. Oh, insanely, here, speaking of Florida, insanely constipated Florida lizard just broke the record for biggest poop.
Wait, for a lizard, right?
I mean, I would imagine, but I also think about how constipated animals must get. You know, because like we know, first of all, like if you get constipated, you kind of know you can take medicine, or you know what kind of foods can help you, or like maybe don't eat 10 blocks of cheese.
Yeah.
You know, whereas a lizard, it's just gonna be like, oh, it's here. I'm going for it.
God, and that's funny that they somehow know, or at least they're telling us. God, hold on. I keep looking at that Goggins hand, man. It's grossing me out.
Take the hand away.
I'm going to go in and...
Take the hand of Goggins. Do not look at the hand of Goggins.
Don't look at the hand of Goggins in the face. No one's going to know what the hell we're talking about. I sent a picture to Sam. There's this guy named David Goggins, who's a lunatic, who used to be like really out of shape and stuff, and like got it in his mind to just be all of the in shape forever, and does like crazy shit. Like, so he put on his Instagram a while back, he just decided to see how many push-ups or how many pull-ups he could do. And then he posted out a picture of his hands where the meat or the skin is literally hanging off of his hands. Like he's destroyed his hands. And he goes, and after this, he did 1,000 more.
It's like, I guess it's impressive, but it's just crazy.
It like, gets to the point where it's crazy. Like you're like, okay, but like that's crazy.
Right.
Yeah. Because I couldn't imagine doing it to where my hand, where the meat fell off my hands to start with, and then was like, okay, well, this is now that's like, well, who was that? Was he the guy that did the thing? Was like, how many push-ups do you do? And he goes, I don't start counting until it starts hurting. So like he would just get.
I think Muhammad Ali is famous for saying that.
Maybe that was Muhammad Ali. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think that was Muhammad Ali. do animals? So speaking of Goggins, do animals push themselves in that way? Do you know what I mean? Like. I can't imagine an animal would get hurt and then be like, I got to keep doing this.
I guess they do it out of instinct, but not out of sheer It's like that goofy ass thing that Joe Rogan, where he's talking about, can you imagine, like, we don't really know how strong a gorilla is. Like, we can estimate, because a gorilla it's insane how strong a gorilla is just naturally. Like, they can just pull our heads off, pull our arms off like nothing. Like, it's insane. But if you could somehow, but they don't have a drive to train. So, like, if you could somehow make a gorilla
lift weights,
understand exactly. To
get him to how much you need bench,
to be like, okay, you're already, like, somehow, if you could instill it with the will to be like, I want to see how strong I could get, dude, a gorilla would be, I mean, who knows how strong, because it's already, like, insanely strong, and it's just doing what it does every day. So if you could somehow instill it with a drive to be like, okay, you know what you are, it would have to be like...
Yeah, why would it want to do it? Maybe you could train it to, like, you give it, positive reinforcement. I'm just thinking now, that makes me think, like, maybe there was some sort of weird fucking contest in Florida to see how constipated you can make a Florida lizard.
Oh, people were doing it to it? That'd be terrible.
No, I have no idea, but maybe. People do crazy shit.
Imagine if that was just something that suddenly swept across the animal kingdom, was the desire to, like, be like Goggins level. You would have, like, caterpillars and stuff that would be, like, eating the fuck out of trees and, like...
Oh, I bet you...
like, grasshoppers and stuff, like seeing how high they could jump. Like,
I bet you, like, the animal that would, like, take over would be a surprising one. It wouldn't be what you'd think.
No.
I mean, like, there's some animal that's pretty unassuming, but because it's chill, like, we don't even realize. But, like, if it wasn't chill, it would just be, like, a murder beast.
Right. Because you'd have ones that you probably wouldn't even notice. Like, you would have, like inchworms became, like, 2-inch you know what I mean? And you'd be like, that's, you're like, okay. They doubled their fucking output.
You know what I mean?
So, know what I mean? When an inchworm decides to get its shit together and become a 2-inch worm.
You know what I mean? Where the hell is my goof grease folder? I don't know what the hell I did with it. Let's do some of my headlines.
Okay, yeah.
Because goddamn it, man, we can never get this. We never do any of them.
I like both of those. I like the thing I like about the constipated lizard is, first of all, how do they know it was the most constipated? It had to just be, this is the most constipated lizard we've ever seen.
No, it wasn't the most constipated. It was that it made the largest poop.
Once again, that they've ever seen.
But Sam, return to my previous statement. Is there an animal? It's got to be like what, elephants or what animal, or whales? It's got to be a whale that just makes the biggest shit. It's got to be a fucking blue whale. It must be it must be crazy.
Yeah, I don't even know how I wonder how a whale even shits.
How much does a blue whale shit? 200 liters of poo. 200 liters.
So is it liquid poo? I've seen some giant fish or some kind of giant animal take a shit, or like there's a video, and it's just like a big cloud comes out of it.
Yeah, it says consistency of breadcrumbs.
Okay.
It leaves like a big yellow-green streak while it swims. Apparently a bunch of other animals eat it, like krill and stuff. It smells more like dog shit, apparently.
Neat. How do you smell it underwater?
Maybe they pull it up.
Oh, yeah, to study it.
Specifically to smell it.
Ooh.
Do we want to stay in animal drawer, or what do you want to do?
So whatever you want to do, man. Remember back at the beginning? What's in your heart?
Oh, that's right. What is it? We didn't even ask. What was it? You had something in your heart.
Mine was that I couldn't get wiggle wine out of my head.
Oh, man. Well, this isn't in my heart, I suppose, but it's funny. You remember that you told me that crazy story about the Noid?
I mean,
that Domino's mascot that, like, made that guy fucking lose his mind? Do you remember how that story went?
Oh, my God. I know what you're talking about.
Well, because they're bringing the mascot back.
Yeah, he thought it was, what was it? Did he think it was telling him something, or he thought...
Some guy who had, like, a psychotic break.
Yeah, he was like a schizophrenic, I believe. And he thought that the Noid was...
a message specifically to him.
Yeah, and he thought that the Noid was a direct, like, a thing created to directly communicate with him. I don't remember. We talked about it on an episode of the podcast, like, but who knows in the sea of nonsense.
I just thought it's funny that Domino's is like, I'm pretty sure the time is right, that the atmosphere for the Noid, everything, this is the right climate.
To bring back the Noid.
Let's bring it back. Well, because the way this headline's listed is Domino's is bringing back the Noid, a mascot that once drove a man to take hostages.
I'll never forget.
Because, like, Ronald McDonald, or, like, Wendy, or I don't know, what's another mascot? Toucan Sam or something. they're whatever fine as mascots, but they never drove a man to commit, kidnapping.
Which is kind of crazy if you think about it. Of all the crazy shit that McDonald's has had, they have a world that rivals Sesame Street with like their characters and shit. They've got like Nuggets and like the Fry Guys and the.
Are there stories that happen in that world, or is it just like a?
I don't know. I think they had some comic books at some point, or like something like little tiny stories. But I don't really know if there's a canon or like a mythos behind exactly.
Yeah, what is the mythos of McDonald's? I mean, because you're right. There's a mayor, and then there's a
Mayor McCheese.
People. Is it a world that exists alongside ours, and we harvest their meat for burgers?
I mean, I don't know. It's like a nightmare because you have a clown and then just a bunch of monsters and like living foods and stuff. It's like I was gonna say it's like Pee-wee's Playhouse. Zombie died the other day. The head in the box.
The actor.
He didn't die. He didn't die. The actor died.
Okay.
They killed off Zombie. And
it's like what? The story continues. Well, because we were talking about fictional worlds. Because then I was thinking like, what is the relationship? Because most fictional worlds obviously just exist in fiction, but like Star Wars, for example, makes a point of saying this happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
In a galaxy far away.
Yeah, it puts it in our world, just in a different time and place.
Right. So I'm saying, like, what is the McDonald's relationship to our world? Mm-hmm. Because they're selling products in our, like, it's, what I'm saying? Like, it's a company that is a person, maybe. It's selling things in our world, but there's also characters that are associated with it. So it's it's like an Adventure Time-like world that sells burgers to people in this world.
But they're also, like, they sell nuggets to people, but there's also living nuggets in their world, which means that they exist and they're happy with their existence of being consumed by our side.
Sometimes you see like a pork restaurant or a chicken restaurant here, and it'll be like a pork, like a pig with a chef's hat. I always hate that.
That's not just here. That's big in the States too. Like for barbecue. Yeah, barbecue, and it's always like a pig, and it's dressed up like he's a fucking cannibal cooking his own kind.
That never makes
like he's in like a barbecue. He's in like an apron.
Make any fucking sense?
Yeah,
I guess it makes sense, but it's fucked up.
It's yeah.
I saw like that's what triggers me.
That's what triggers you is a pig cooking pork.
Anthropomorphized animals cooking themselves. Well, I mean, just saying it out loud, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
I saw a news ad for some like guy here who sells a bunch of chicken. He's got his own chicken company. He sells it, and they drew him. He was like sitting in a throne like chair, and they drew these like sexy chicken girls like hanging off of him. And I was like, what? What's the world? What the world have you painted here?
Yeah,
that he's like got sexy chicken girls and he sells their meat. Like, what the fuck? What's so funny is like there's people out there who just don't think about it. Some artist drew that.
Yeah, and I wish I could beat those people sometime.
No, I know.
I would get a lot more sleep. I think I get a lot more done. Or I'm not sitting there thinking about like why would you draw? So just don't think about it, man. I can't.
I know. I have to think about the implications.
Have you seen that? Oh man, I have to put this up. There's just this little clip of a guy dressed as Ronald McDonald, and he's on the fucking counter at a McDonald's.
Oh, I have seen that. Yeah.
And he's like, "Let's McFrickin' lose it." And you hear this little kid, like those parents walk in, and you can tell the parents are like, what is happening? Like they know something, like this isn't an official thing, this is some crackhead. And you hear the kid for a split second go, yay! He's like starts stomping on the table, and the parents are like grabbing the kids. It's so funny how quick the kid's like, yay! And then they're like, no, that isn't the real Ronald McDonald. Like this is some lunatic.
Well, what was that? Oh, I mean, I guess because it's Ronald McDonald, but I was thinking like the kid's like, finally, anarchy! Down with a bang!
Yeah. Yay! Yeah, well, they say yay like a fraction of a second because they just see Ronald McDonald on the counter and go yay, and then as soon as the yay comes out of this kid's mouth, he goes, "Let's McFrickin' lose it!" And they're like, "Oh no!"
One of my favorite themes of news of Goof Grease is terrible teachers. I think that's always so funny because like the people who I get up in front of children aren't vetted very well, or sometimes people who are fine just lose their fucking mind, and that's funny to me.
Yeah,
it's funny to me because like people are always like, you got to be careful, you never know what's going to happen. But then it's like, yeah, but you honestly never know what's going to happen. So how could you can't be careful? You know what I mean? So like,
yeah,
I don't know what point I'm making right now, but drunk teacher who took pupils to strip club banned from teaching.
What?
Drunk teacher.
Yeah. So the teacher was drunk and just thought, fuck it, they got to learn sometime.
Let them learn. What? I mean, unless he's like a shop teacher or something. I don't know why. Unless
that makes it okay.
Well, it doesn't make it okay, but like
you would expect it more than if it was like
you'd expect it more from the shop teacher, yeah, because those guys already seem like
than like the algebra teacher.
The shop teacher always kind of felt like fuck it,
yeah,
right. And I think in every high school with a shop teacher, he's like he sort of exists outside the system as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, yeah. Ours did too, like completely out of the system. Well, his wife was the vice principal, and he didn't do. There's times he just didn't show up, and we didn't even have a substitute, and it was complete chaos. Because you know what people can get,
and just in a room with all the tools and shit.
Yeah. Well, we were in like that. It was the drawing room, like the mechanical drawing room, but you could go into the shop. But even when he was there, he would just go into his office, which was attached to the shop, leave everybody else to their own devices, and he would just have the girls come in, and he would just flirt with high school girls. Like, it was fucking creepy. He'd be like, yeah, just come in here and talk to me. You don't have to do anything. So they would, like, any of the girls who happened to take shop never had to do anything. They would just go and flirt with him. It was bizarre, and people would do crazy shit. Like, remember they would hook up the belt sanders and like hunch up on them and race like little go-karts. Like the belt sanders were so strong that you could race on like go-karts.
Yeah,
stick a block of wood on the saw and it would like launch it into the ceiling. Things that would kill people. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I could sit here for a straight hour and tell you nothing but insane stories about shit that went on in our shop class in high school.
At my school, my brain has kind of gotten corrupted by the stories you've told me. Either you told me the story or it happened at my school. I honestly can't tell the difference anymore. A kid brought a bullet to school, right? Which I don't think a bullet maybe... He just had a bullet. He didn't have a gun.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's enough to get in trouble. Maybe it is. I don't know. But he put it in a vise, and he hit the end of it with a hammer, and it shot into the ceiling. And he got expelled.
Yeah. No, I think that wasn't one of my stories. Because I remember you telling me that.
Okay. But maybe that's in the McDonald's world universe. I'm not sure.
It's Mayor McCheese.
But like I would say probably other than maybe the chemistry room, but I think you're going to have some know-how to fuck around in chemistry. Like if you just start mixing stuff, you're not going to make trouble probably. But the shop room is just weapons essentially.
Yeah.
Anyone can get hurt in a shop room.
Yeah. And they would show you how to use the stuff like one time and be like, okay, make a clock. And then it was just like for the next week you like went around and like were using fucking, I remember they pushed this one poor kid, pushed him into the lathe. Into it, if you know what a lathe is, it's a thing where you put a block of wood in it and it spins at an insanely high rate of speed, and then you like carve away at it with like a
right. Yeah.
They pushed him into it, and it ripped the shirt off of his body like a cartoon, and went and just sucked it off of his body, and put a big like burn on his belly, like a rug burn from the wood, and then he has to go and like and they were like who did this, and then like, nobody, and it was terrible. They used to bully the hell out of this poor kid. Stuff that that if you put it in the movie, people wouldn't believe it. They'd be like, nobody did that. Nobody did that to another person. I'm like, oh yeah, they did.
And what's crazy about school and high school and people in general is until someone either gets maimed or killed, no one will step in and do anything about it.
No. They set this kid on fire and then knocked him down and stomped him to put him out, and he thanked them for putting him out.
Oh my God.
I was like, dude, they set you on fire. Once again, I've got 100 stories that could just be about that poor guy.
Would you have gone to the strip club with the shop teacher?
I don't think you have a choice. You're just like, that's what we're doing.
I bet you didn't even tell him. I bet you just took him.
I bet he just showed up one day and was like, all right, we're going on a field trip. Because, they certainly didn't get, like, consent or anything. Like, parent consent.
Can you imagine? I kind of want to click. Well, what do we got here? We got that. We got the Nike Goose. We got constipated. Oh, goddamn. Again, we've done 3. No, 4. Noid, kind of.
Kind of took care of itself.
But 2 of those weren't even mine. So, like, we're never going to clear this grease out.
I mean, the Nike Goose is intriguing. I mean, a big lizard full of
what
poop
could this
is funny. We only did 3.
Okay, drunk teacher.
Okay.
Let's play the card. Drunk teacher. He looks like a gym teacher. He's a picture of him. He looks like a gym teacher.
Oh, he's a gym teacher? I thought he was a shop
pupils to strip. I know. I don't know. I don't know. No, he's an IT teacher. He just looked like a gym teacher.
Okay. I thought he was a shop
teacher. An IT teacher No, well, we made that up. That's in our McDonald's universe. An IT teacher who threatened pupils and took some to a strip club while he was drunk during a school trip has been banned from teaching for 3 years. Mm-hmm. Right? He was in Northumberland. I'm not sure. Maybe England? Oh, it's from the BBC, so yeah. His behavior seems unacceptable, so he sent home early from the trip. So they took a trip somewhere. His actions included drinking with the pupils, allowing under 18-year-olds to drink alcohol, threatening to kick the head in of one student and kill another, taking one or more pupils to a strip club and acting aggressively to the women leading the trip.
Wow.
On top of this, Glenn was aggressive to a pupil before kissing one of the boys on the forehead and telling them, "You're all right," and exposing himself to a woman in a shared hotel room. Although it was not malicious or sexually motivated.
What's that mean?
Like he wasn't.
He didn't like. He didn't like.
He exposed himself. Yeah. He wasn't. I don't think he was sexually harassing them. He was just harassing them with his sexual organs. Which I'm sure. I mean, I think there's a distinction. Like, he didn't want them to do anything with it, and he wasn't trying to get them. I think he was just drunk. I don't know what the distinction is. He exposed himself.
He didn't, like, take it out and shake it at him, but he, like, maybe came out of the shower and didn't put a robe on, and then he just, like, walks across the room naked, and they're like, Jesus, I didn't want to see that. And it's like, yeah, you exposed yourself in a non-sexual way, but...
Oh, that could be what it is. Yeah, because I don't think he took it out to show them. Yeah, you're right. Maybe he peed without closing the door or something. Yeah.
What I
mean, this dude was having a goddamn...
I mean, he was living his best life there for a minute at the sake of everyone else, but...
They added, even when he took the students' he took them to the lap dancing club, is what they refer to it in the title. There was no malice or sexual intent. He said he couldn't remember what happened because of how drunk he was, but did not dispute the recollection of those present. I mean, I don't remember.
Probably. Sounds like...
Yeah, sounds like me, I guess.
Sounds like something I do.
I mean, that's pretty great. I mean, 3 years. But they're going to let him be a teacher again. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
Yeah, he's coming back.
I bet you the kids are probably like, they're in another country.
But the thing is, like, having the kids drink, that's probably not as frowned upon there as it is. I mean, sure. I mean, it's against the law.
Probably not as, yeah.
Because of, like, I think if you did that in the States, people would be way more, like, there'd be way more penalties just for having an underage person drink. But I think in the UK, like, that's not as big of a deal. Even though it's still the law. Yeah, I don't think it's as big of a deal. But I don't fucking know.
I don't know either. I think that headline was sufficient.
It's sufficient.
So, I mean, you want to learn about the goose?
Or the big poop?
I don't give a shit about that poop. Nebraska celebrity bird delighted all until he was brutally killed. It's literally a goose wearing, like, little kid Nike shoes.
Brutally?
This is like one of those articles that's like a fucking novel, man. Like, this is like, it's not just a headline. It's not an article. It's like
the full tale.
Yeah,
I can hear you scrolling through it. Yeah, that was
yeah, it is. Well, this has been another episode of the Row.
If you want to look up headlines on your own, and you should.
You goddamn should. Whoever sent us those headlines, thank you for being a mystery provider. If you want to send us headlines, you guys can do that at Royal WeCast on Twitter, royalwecast@gmail.com, or on our Facebook or on our Instagram. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, send them to Paulson. Maybe he'll organize them in a way that makes sense. I want to thank Kishibashi for letting us use this song intro / Pathos off the album 151A. And I think that's going to do it for us this week.
Yeah.
If you guys want to learn about this goose, Google it.
Yeah, Google the
This is from 2016. This is from a website called Atlas Obscura, which I think I'm going to dig through for future geese.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, everything in the headlines don't feel too goofy. Like, they're kind of weird headlines. That might be one of those ones where I really got to dig through to find the weird ones. Anyway, I'm just reading headlines on a website now. I guess goodbye.